Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday morning, and we are live with Thursday Morning Live. Welcome to this show that we meet here every week with an entrepreneur, somebody maybe from the real estate space, but maybe not. This morning, somebody that's not in the real estate space, but has an interesting journey, a great story. I know that when we get into it, you're going to be amazed. And I always say that life as an entrepreneur has its ups and downs, its struggles, its challenges along the way, but the fulfillingness of it that you bring to other people along the way is nothing to shake your head at. So I always ask, what are you intentional about today? When we get up, have you taken the time today to schedule your day, to time block, to be intentional about what you're going to accomplish? Maybe it's the number of people that you're going to talk to. Maybe it's the number of hours you're going to get into exercise today. Maybe it is how much time you're going to spend with your family, but what are you going to be intentional about today? And how is that going to impact somebody else around you? So, I'm always so confident or committed to the fact that how do we impact somebody else? What do we do for them? And then the second thing is gratitude, right? We just, need to look at what we have around us and what we can be grateful for. So I'm really grateful for my guest this morning. This is somebody that I met, probably over the last 6 months or so, on Clubhouse. And Clubhouse is that interesting audio platform. And we have been on a room in the morning, early morning, called the 413. Very eclectic group of people and a lot of fun. So David Williams with Products for Humanity has an interesting journey and an interesting story. And I'm going to bring him in and let him talk to us about it. So remember, one last thing, if you like the content, if you like what we deliver here, please go to social media, like us, love us, subscribe to us, subscribe on YouTube. We're always going to be bringing relevant content to you. So look forward to having you see more and more of that. So, hey, David, come on in. Good
Morning, Mike.
morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate you being here. It's been a while that you and I have connected and had a couple of great conversations offline, and this is really the first time we've seen each other. So you have to you have to be grateful for these platforms today.
I didn't realize that until you said that to me earlier this morning, Mike, that we had never seen each other live. We've had numerous telephone conversations and obviously clubhouse chats, but gosh, I felt like we had connected before. So yeah, finally,
Yeah,
finally good to see you.
yeah, for sure. So hey, I kick off every one of my episodes with the same question. I think it's really interesting to get to know people at this level. But in one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
I would have to say passionate.
Hmm.
Everything I take an interest in, I take an interest passionately in that.
Awesome. I want to say hi to the people that are out listening in this morning. We got a bunch of people online. Amy, good morning. Good to see you again. Glad that you're here. And David, can we do this? Can we jump into your story? Give us your background, your history, and bring us up to speed as to where you're at now.
Yeah, and I was listening to your intro and I'm like, I'm more into real estate than you probably realized. So I, I studied at Cal Poly Pomona, finance, insurance, and real estate law. So that's that's where my studies were. And quite honestly, it was probably more baseball. So I was fortunate to play on a national championship baseball team in college and played for an amazing coach, and people refer to him all the time. It's funny. I'll watch things pop up and they'll say this speech called the stay at 17 inches. I'm like, I played for that coach. That was my coach. So, but if you don't get if you've never had a chance, I tell everybody it's a great speech. It's more than about baseball, but I played for John Scalinas at Cal Poly Pomona and was honored to do so. But yeah, I fell into the import business, the ceramic tile and marble, and had a store in wholesale in Southern California. So I was selling to builders. I had the base grade flooring and some mosaics that I was selling to builders. And in 1989, I was playing softball for my church, and was playing in the outfield, and somebody who I had never met before was playing second base, and a ball was hit way over my head, and I went out to the fence and grabbed it and turned around and just swung and threw a ball on a frozen rope, where they call it a frozen rope, which is on a straight line, to this guy at second base, and hit him in the chest, and just boom, and he kind of looked at me like, I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? Did I call your mother a name or something? I don't know what I did. I thought this guy wanted to fight me. And I'm like, he's on my team. And got into the dugout, and he says, who are you? And I go, is everything all right? And he goes, yeah. Who are you? And I go, well, I'm Dave. He goes, I'm Rob. But who are you? And I go, I don't know where you're coming at. And he goes, I've never seen anybody throw a softball that hard in my life. And I went, well, I'm a former pitcher and played college ball. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And that struck up a friendship. Well, Rob was in the baby products industry. And Rob had imported a stroller, designed and imported a stroller. And he was a sales rep for Graco. And Graco came to him, or before that, he said, hey, I need a place to, warehouse these. I go, oh, I got a warehouse full of ceramic tile and marble, and the market's crashing. So yeah, bring them on in. Be happy to warehouse those. And then Graco came to him and said, hey, Rob, that's a conflict of interest. You really can't be even selling those. And he's like, hey, can you help me out and help me liquidate these? And I said, sure. So I think I sold like 3,000 of them in a week. And he's like, whoa, okay, you know how to sell. And I go, yeah, well, I've been in sales for a while. So that kind of segued me into the baby products industry in 1989. I have been the VP of sales for a baby bottle manufacturing company. I was the director of global sales for Graco, in which Rob became my boss. He was the VP of sales at Graco. He had moved from being a rep to the VP of sales and hired me as a national sales manager. And then I progressed up the chain. We were acquired by Newell Rubbermaid Corporation, and they wanted to take the company in a different direction than what we were. Most people didn't know this at the time, but Graco was a company run by Christian men, or Christian people, I should say. There were women in our executive team as well. So we would close like Chick-fil-A. We'd be closed on Sundays and at trade shows, and there were
Graco was. Graco was.
Yeah,
no kidding, huh? And everybody talks about Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby, but
yeah. Well, so when Newell Rubbermaid came in and took us over, they said, hey, we're a publicly traded company, and we're not going to stand for that. So they quote unquote wanted to eradicate the culture, which wasn't the wisest move in the world. We were category leaders in like 5 or 6 major categories, such as swings and high chairs and play yards and infant car seats. And so what happens is we all go to different companies. I ended up going to Baby Trend, became the president of Baby Trend, was there for a while. And then I started a car seat company. There was a change in direction with some of our shareholders that I didn't agree with, and I didn't want to follow it. So I exited out and went into real estate and was doing real estate, kind of half-heartedly, which you can't do real estate half-heartedly, and did some flips and that type of thing, and then got approached to go back into the car seat industry. Did that for a while, and then I came across during right before COVID, Rob had reached out to me and he said, hey, we hadn't talked in a while, and he said, my son-in-law and I started a stroller company, went direct to consumer. And we just exited for a very healthy sum, and in the north of 7 figures. And he said it was amazing because it was direct to consumer. 95% of our sales took place on a cell phone. So all this thing's just like blowing my mind, because when I was at Graco, it was all about, we had to have real estate in a store. It was see, touch, and feel. If you couldn't see, touch, and feel a product, you just didn't sell it. So, it was just like, whoa, okay, that's kind of interesting. But it inspired me to look at it and say, okay, he's exited, what could I do and make an impact there? And so I started researching stroller companies and saw the one that, I was seeing on the streets quite a bit. Now, my eldest son is a James Beard chef. He's one of the top 100 chefs in the world. And I say that not to brag about my son, but to say that I like good food. So I tend to go where there's better restaurants. And so maybe I'm hanging out in too elite of an area, but I kept seeing this one stroller over and over and over again. I go, I'm not familiar with them. I'm going to look them up, and looked them up. And I was amazed to find that there were a lot of negative reviews about the product, about how the seats attached to the stroller and how they wiggled and wobbled, and they used these adapters. And I said, you know what, I could do that better. I could design that better. So I set out to design that better, and I did. I came up with a stroller that converts from a single to a double to a triple without the need of adapters, which is what everybody was complaining about. I made it about 4 pounds lighter than the competitor, which is roughly 6 or 7% lighter. Couldn't make it as light as everybody wanted it to be, but I'm like, you're holding 2 kids in this thing, and a third one is standing on the back of it. So, it's got to be a little bit sturdy. But the competitor seat, they said, put the kid on the lower seat when using it for dual kids, but that was a smaller seat in frame size. I'm like, you're asking a parent to put a bigger kid in a smaller seat. I go, that doesn't make any sense. So nonetheless, I designed all these things different to make it a better product. And then COVID hit, and I'm like, oh, great. And I've shared with you that I'm a Christian, and I just felt, okay, God, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to me except putting more gray hairs on my head? And I just kept hearing the Holy Spirit tell me, do this for others, do it for others, do it for others. And one day in frustration, I just said, I don't know what that means. Lord, you got to show me a sign. And I literally turned on the TV, and 37 girls were found in Atlanta that were being trafficked, and the average age was 8 to 12. Well, my 2 eldest granddaughters at the time were 8 and 12. And I said, okay, that hits home. I've always had a passion for children. I've always, I've been asked to speak several times, and it always ends up being about children. Spending time with people as a child wants to spend time with you. They don't care about your car. They don't care about your job. They don't care about your title. They just want time. So I always have fashioned myself to be that of a child's mentality when it comes to relationships. Just spend time with people. That's all they care about. They don't want to judge you. They just want to spend time with you. So anyhow, that just hit home with me. And so I finished this design and went into producing a prototype, went out and surveyed about 40 moms, some random guy walking up on the streets. And I got to back up a little bit, Mike. I randomly walked up to 15 women that had my competitor stroller and said, hey, I'm a random guy, 30 years experience in baby products. What do you like about your stroller? And they said, oh, well, my friend told me it was the best, and that, you really need to be pushing this stroller. And I said, what do you like the least about it? Well, it's too heavy, it wobbles, all these things. I went, so the only thing that they could tell me they really liked about it was that their friend recommended it. So I'm like, okay, so this is a brand status type thing, right? It's like carrying a Gucci purse or a Louis Vuitton. It's not about the product itself. It's about the status that it brings. So I said, okay, well, there's got to be something better than brand status. So I really felt that social status would be better. And so when I went back out with my prototype, got a prototype built. It was built. It's the ones you're seeing behind me. Yep. It was built with 3D printed plastic parts, which is amazing to me. And I took this back out and I demonstrated it to 40 moms, and they were like, oh, this is cool. Oh, wow.
So let me get this right. So that stroller behind you is built with off a 3D printer.
The metal parts are not, but the plastic parts were all produced on a 3D printer.
It's amazing where technology's at today. What's it like today to be, after COVID, to be an entrepreneur, to be trying to be bringing a product to market, building a business? What's that like in today's environment?
It is challenging, more challenging than I ever expected. I raised capital for a car seat company. I raised $6 million without a prototype, just on an idea and a sketch. And I had people like Magic Johnson that were interested. I literally had a one-on-one meeting with Magic Johnson. He was very, very interested, and we weren't able to come to terms on it. But now, I'm raising less than $1 million and finding it extremely challenging to do. So it is definitely a different climate, different environment. I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. The one thing that does happen, Mike, and we laugh about this in the children's products industry, is we are recession proof. We are pandemic proof. When people stay at home, they make babies. And as long as they're making babies, we have customers.
So that was my next question. Is there any numbers out yet that say this is what we can expect in babies in the next year because of the pandemic,
right,
in the world?
I have seen numerous reports of birth rates being up anywhere from 3 to 5%. Wow. So, and again, it takes a while to see that come, full circle. So we got 9 months that we have to lag on statistics, but yeah, there seems to be. And, I've got 6 grandkids. I've got 4 boys, 6 grandkids. I know that my youngest son and his wife are beginning to set the stage to have children. So, I know my demographic because it's my kids. So,
yeah. So let me ask you this: how do you compete against that? The brand name thing you mentioned, it's a brand name. How do you compete against that? Like if I come out with Mike's gym shoe, how am I competing against an Adidas or against a Nike, right? So how are you doing that against a Graco, or how do you work into the marketplace?
Well, that's a great question, and part of when I went back out, Mike, to survey these people, those 40 women that I went and walked up with a stroller and said, again, random guy, I got a stroller that I just developed, and I showed the features. They all went, wow, that's really cool. I really like that. And then I said, and I'm giving a percentage of sales to charities that support victims of human trafficking, and they jumped. I mean, they almost jumped out of their seats. Oh my gosh, I would have bought your product over anybody else's. So at this point, I think we have the right formula. We have a great product. We have great cause. We've got good logoing. We have great brand messaging. It's just a matter of getting the word out there. Yeah. And it's a different time. I mean, influencer marketing is huge, and I've gone around, traveled the country taking this stroller, and I've had 14 influencers without pay say, we want to help. We want to demonstrate your product. I don't have inventory yet. Unfortunately, had lost a key investor. So we're about to wrap up a new investor, but we're ready to go into production. The tooling, paid for all the tooling, paid for all the design. That stroller that you see behind us will actually be improved. That's the one positive about having a 3D printed product, is I was able to look at some of the geometry of the handles and how it relates to the seats and make some subtle changes before we went into full production. But we're ready to go into full production now, and really excited about it. But I think it's really just got to get the word out there. Influencer, digital marketing. In children's products, it's really about blogs. Yeah, there's several blogs that women will go to because they will give a product recommendation, and it's genuine, it's organic, it's authentic. You can't buy that. You send them a stroller, they review it, and you cross your fingers and say a prayer and hope that they're kind. So, but again, I think I've put enough into design and experience into the product that I think we'll get very, very positive reviews when it does.
So where do you think people see, you've said a couple of things that I want to know, are people more excited about the product, or are they more excited about your cause and what Products for Humanity stands for and against human trafficking? And
I'm trying not to answer this kind of in a cliche way, because when I show people the product, they go, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful stroller. It's amazing. And again, this is a printed 3D printed product. they're like, this is amazing. This is beautiful. I love this stroller. It looks amazing. And then I tell them, and we're giving a percentage of sales to charities supporting victims of human trafficking. Then they become even more excited. So
Yeah.
I'm getting it twofold, right? I'm getting the first wave in the product appreciation, and then really it's elevating us beyond what we ever expected when we said we're helping these victims of human trafficking. And you know, and I just, as you asked me the first question, you know, what best describes you personally and professionally? It's passion, right? Passionate.
Mm.
I am. If you put yourself in the position of a parent or a grandparent that has had a child taken, that you know is being sexually exploited, it just, if you have a pulse, it rips at your heart. And when you have grandkids like I do, and you can personalize that to say, you know, if something happened to Cadence or to Jocelyn or to Emmeline, my three granddaughters, you know, how would I feel?
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm just like, I can't stop. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop obsessing about making this right. How do we make this better? So it really is just, you know, and I'm probably avoiding your question or not answering it concisely, but it really is just, how do you do it in a pandemic? You find something that you're absolutely passionate about, and you just break through barriers. You have to make it happen. And I think that's true with anything that you do. If you're not passionate about it, don't do it.
Yeah.
But for me, it is, you know, as I said, I was fortunate to play on a national championship baseball team. I was passionate about pitching.
Yeah.
I would
say that. Right.
I'd go on Christmas break, right? We'd finish winter ball or fall ball, and then we'd have to come back in January ready to go. And I lived on some equestrian property. I built a mound. I built a net and a home plate, because I'm like, I'm not waiting around for a catcher. And I had a rain gutter that I had taken down the fence, and I had my girlfriend down there picking up balls and dropping it in the rain gutter, so it would drop them, bring them back to the bucket to me, so I could keep pitching. That's just the way I've done things in my life. I've just been very passionate about anything that I've done, to say, you know, I'm going to accomplish what I need to accomplish, and if there's nobody there to help me, so be it. But you know, hopefully there is somebody along the way. So.
Well, I think that's critical about being an entrepreneur, is that you have to be passionate about what you're doing, you know, and they always say, right, that if you love what you do, the money will follow. You just have to continue to follow your dream. And I think a lot of things that happen for entrepreneurs is they give up too early. I've seen, you know, this is the greatest example of this I can give anybody. I had a friend years ago that came out with a bottled water, and this was before bottled water was popular.
Okay.
And he spent time designing the bottle and put this beautiful bottle together and brought this to market. And he was selling bottled water out of the back of his car, and you know, gave up, quit, and said that this, you know, if it ever was going to work, it's going to work at some other time. I ran out of money, whatever the excuse was that he made up in his mind. And it wasn't but 6 months later, Coca-Cola came out with a bottled water. And, you know, so, you know, now all of a sudden you go back to talking about brand name, right? You take this big brand name that brings a product to market, and now, you know, there's that disruption factor. And that's what I see you trying to do, is go into marketplace and disrupt the stroller business, bring a better product, a higher quality product, a product that is safer, that the mother and father will appreciate more, and plus give back. And, you know, there's a lot to be said for that, David. So I'm you know, it's been an honor to have you on this morning. Will you do this? Will you tell people, if they want to get a hold of you, whether they want to see the product, try the product, get the product, you know, anything else, how they could do that?
Sure. You know, we have a website. It's for the number 4 Humanity Baby Products, or I'm sorry, forhumanitybaby.com. You can find us on Instagram for, again, the number 4 Humanity Baby Products. And you can send me an email. I think it's streaming along the bottom there, but it's davidw@productsforhumanity.com. And, the stroller is the first one. I've got some indoor products that we're working on, but the greater vision, the umbrella company is Products for Humanity. The stroller company is For Humanity Baby Products, but we have a whole line of consumer products that we're going to expand into activewear, all channels of consumer products under the Products for Humanity label. And the idea is that we're going to be supporting different charities. Probably majority will be children's, St. Jude's Children's Hospital and some of the others, Children's Miracle Network, because that's where my passion is for children. But we're definitely wanting to expand not only our consumer products offering, but the charities that we're able to help.
Yeah. Well, David, thank you for being here this morning. It's been an honor to get to know you a little bit more and to spend some time with you. Would you hang out backstage for a minute and we could spend some time after I shut this thing down?
Will do. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Hang on. I'll be right there.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for this morning and thanks for being on Thursday morning live. And, David Williams this morning has a great new innovative product he's bringing to the marketplace, looking for people to be supportive of that. So reach out to him and have a conversation with him about his journey and about the product and how you might be able to be of help to him. Because I know what he's doing is bringing value and adding value to everybody else's world. So a couple of thoughts this morning that come to mind. What's your passion? What are you looking at accomplishing in your life? Is it something in the nonprofit world? Is it something in the for-profit world? Either one, but how are you bringing that to other people and helping other people? And, I'd love to support you in that and encourage you in that. A couple things coming up this summer. The GOB Network is having an event that's the multifamily networking event that will be July 13th and 14th here in Chicago. So if you need to get tickets for that, reach out. We have an early bird special going on and you will enjoy this event for sure. In October, the Mike Morawski Multifamily Summit will be coming up, and that will be 3 days, October 20th through the 22nd. We have a great lineup of speakers this year. It will be a great event for 3 days, knowledge, information, everything from multifamily to securities attorneys to self-directed IRA, property management conversations. So it's all going to be conversations on how to drive your business personally and professionally. Because I always say you can't grow professionally till we grow personally, right? Glad that you're here this morning. Reach out if I can answer any questions for you. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're in the real estate space, if you are looking to get on a podcast, I would love to talk with you about possibly being on this Thursday morning live show. I'm always looking for interesting products and guests, people, whether in the profit or nonprofit space, that we can talk about where the world's at and what life is like being an entrepreneur. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a great week. We will see you next Thursday. If I can answer any questions,